Twitter is being delisted from the New York Stock Exchange, effective October 28th, Friday. That's likely because Elon Musk wants everyone to let his new ownership sink in. Well, he's expected to take ownership of Twitter at 5 p.m. and says the rumors of him dismissing 75% of the staff are false. Well, even though he is expected to cut a lot of expenses at Twitter, he's got an uphill battle to work in the valuation for Twitter. And in this video, I'd like to talk about what you're buckling up for if you're deciding to ride or die with Elon Musk when this company goes private and the shares are delisted Friday. I'm not entirely sure if that's Friday morning or Friday at the closing bell. Either way, before or after Friday, Twitter will be delisted and it will be a private company. So, we know that Elon Musk is paying about $44 billion for this company. The largest idea that he has is growing the user base of Twitter from its current about 200 million users. Let's not even get into the discussion of how many of those are actually bots, to 1 billion users. That's about a 5x growth in users, and then hopefully 10xing the monetizability of Twitter in order to essentially produce real cash flows. And the idea of Elon Musk purchasing Twitter for $54.20 has been the reason that Twitter has actually traded relatively close to $54.20, because quite frankly, Twitter would probably be selling for close to $15 to $20 today, since advertising companies are absolutely getting reamed during this recession, and it's really what's a beginning of recession, which stocks tend to price in the worst of. Of course, now we're getting actual EPS misses from companies like Google, Microsoft, and Facebook, and so what do we get? Big downshifts, at all companies except for Twitter, of course, because Elon's paying $54.20 for it. Now, look, it's old news. He knows he's overpaying. He was paying at the time like 70 times 2022 earnings. That should have compressed by at least half. It's old news to say he's paying double what it's worth. We got that. What's he going to do with the company? Well, again, 5x revenue, 5x the user base, and 10x the revenue. And how does he plan to do that? Well, according to sort of internal rumors that we're hearing, Elon Musk is also hinting about this on Twitter, that we might see Twitter turn into a Twitter space that can also include monetizable videos, including subscription-based live streams, where you could essentially sign up for a one-time paid live stream or a paid style live stream. Think about Twitter Spaces, but either for exclusive members or through some sort of paid subscription model. Kind of like maybe when I used to do market open and close live streams publicly, a paid version of that, and then host it on Twitter. And one of the things that I'd like to add in terms of commentary is, in order for this to be successful, we should potentially look at the number one competitor in the space of long-form video. And now we're not talking about short-form video, which would be Facebook Reels, YouTube Shorts, or TikToks. We're talking about long-form, generally deemed to be 8 minutes plus, but really anything over about 3 minutes. And that is a horizontal video would be a competitor like Twitch, Vimeo, Facebook Video, or YouTube. And clearly the elephant in the room is YouTube. YouTube has the number one Nielsen rating for most watched streaming service as of September of 2020, which is actually an impressive feat. But when we look at the numbers of the earnings provided by YouTube for Google, we can see that YouTube advertising is down about 1.85% year over year. And if we look at the percentage of revenue that comes from YouTube compared to the total revenue for Google, we can see that YouTube makes up less than the Google network of income. It does make up nearly twice as much as Google Cloud, but makes up a fraction of the ads that are spent on search. In total, YouTube ads make up only about 10.2% of Google's entire revenue, and that's actually declined as a share of revenue. YouTube used to represent 11% in income. This was back in 2021 and now represents just 10.2%. So not only is it experiencing a downshift in sort of the trend of growth, but it's also becoming a less important part of Google's revenue, which one of the reasons people have been very enthusiastic about Google over the last few years has been because of YouTube, but that is actually becoming less notable at Google. And so for Elon Musk to suggest, hey, let's just turn Twitter into, potentially to suggest, let's turn Twitter into a platform for long-form monetizability, I have a few suggestions for Elon Musk and a warning. So the first, in terms of suggestions, monetization is everything. YouTube and Google have announced that they're planning to incorporate product placement buttons that pop up within videos while the videos are playing. So maybe kind of like the little cards that pop up for another video. You could actually purchase merchandise directly, kind of like some channels have the merchandise shelf below videos. This would actually pop up in videos when certain products are mentioned. So if I say, hey, you know, I've had a really good experience with my Google Pixel phone, click the link down below, you could potentially do that directly through a link that actually pops up on screen, one that hopefully is also tappable on your iPhone. And that would be my recommendation to Elon Musk. Make sure that if you would launch some sort of long-form video content, you immediately launch with features that are potentially not only more advanced than what YouTube's going to come out with, but are at least as good as what YouTube has. And it really wouldn't be that difficult to have the option to implement some form of iPhone, because we know that, or even smartphone in general, we know that about 50% of viewers are watching on their phones, if not as many as 60% of people, that while you're watching a video vertically, you could actually click a button, shop for a product, while the video is maybe still playing in sort of the miniaturized player. That I think would be priceless. And now YouTube is working in that direction, so you've got work to do here. Obviously, the most important thing is advertising revenue for creators. Now, look, there is a lot of entertaining content on TikTok and with Shorts, but my personal opinion is that if you want real education and real perspective, you frequently need to resort to longer form video to get that. And that's because you're going to attract a better talent when you can actually pay creators through a monetizable video. For example, on YouTube, when a video is more than 8 minutes long, we can monetize that video. So if I knew that every single video I made $500, for example, I might think to myself, well, damn, I'll just make 10 videos a day. That's $5,000 a day, you know, just as an example, right? So, whereas if somebody told you every video you made $5, like Shorts frequently do, and you spent the same amount of time making that kind of content, making that content viral or viral-esque and attractive on a short form content, where it really incentivizes more editing than potentially valuable perspective, or just straight up content theft, which is rampant in Shorts. People just basically regurgitating the same almost verbatim content that you get of other people's Shorts who've gone viral, right? Like this is not actually perpetuating society in a better direction. So personally, I haven't been extremely interested in Shorts, although I've posted some Shorts that I think have been very, very educational and have done well. But personally, I think in order to really attract high caliber creators, monetization needs to be a #1 priority. It's a benefit to the user who gets better quality content, and it's a benefit to the creator who is incentivized to continue to make their content better and better. Not having monetization for content, I think, is a really bad doom loop of really chasing not so educational trends. Now, there are a lot of things that are just meant to pass time, and that's fine, but if the goal is to educate and actually help people build wealth, then I don't know that necessarily Shorts are that option. So that is a big priority, #1, monetization, and if there's a way to include or incorporate more clearly or transparently product placements or advertisements where maybe little creator banners come up in an integrated way that's controlled by the creator, I think that's a real opportunity to expand revenue. And you've really got a lot of work to do, because here's the thing. Remember, YouTube is just about 10.2% of the revenue of Google. That's about a $1.2 billion market cap company. That's worth about $120 million alone just for YouTube. Buying Twitter for about 44 bills suggests that that might be a 3x if you can just compare to being par with YouTube. But to be par with YouTube, you've got to be able to drive the revenue. So if you're going to drive revenue with video, you've got to learn what YouTube has done well. And personally, that's videos over 8 minutes with 1 or 2 ads in between, and supporting creators' ability to build revenue so they continue to bring content to the platform. Now, a danger that you're going to face is people just posting the same video on YouTube and on Twitter. So somehow creating an organic incentive for people to post videos on Twitter, it's going to be a little bit challenging. And this is where I do have a word of caution, because you do have an audience on Twitter that's very attuned to short form text. In fact, generally even threads, the second tweet in a thread gets maybe 10% of the engagement of the initial tweet. It's usually just initial tweets that do well and go viral. And so it makes me wonder how many people are really going on Twitter to spend 8 minutes on a video versus, 30 seconds of scrolling between bus stops to see what the latest tweets are or news notifications. I actually have right here, just out of reach of this camera, ding, I touched it, an iPad, and I have a scroll list here of all my Twitter notifications. So I actually have notifications on for just a limited subset of individuals or companies. And so I have a scrolling feed that's basically a free news service almost of notifications. It's just an always-on iPad that just sits here. So to me, it would be relatively useless in this sort of purpose to have a bunch of videos pop up here because I use Twitter for different purposes. So I do have a concern for that, and I think that's a red flag for the ride or diers going in on Twitter betting that this is going to be so easy to monetize. I don't know why individuals would really be incentivized to create for Twitter rather than YouTube, or to leave YouTube to go onto Twitter. That would potentially be a very expensive endeavor to convert people like Joe Rogan, or it would be a very difficult grind to prove that somehow the Twitter service is better and the eyeballs are actually there. And I don't know that the user base on Twitter is looking for video content. Again, when I think of video, hey, how to change an outlet, I'm not going to Twitter for how to change an outlet. I'm going to the #1 video search engine, and that's, hey, YouTube. Yeah, it just is what it is. You also have the competition of Google. If I type into search how to do something, usually Google videos come up. So you do have a sort of a little bit of a roadblock there, although there are arguments that that's anti-monopoly and maybe videos, or that's sort of encouraging a monopoly, right? That's anti-free enterprise and competitive, and therefore there should be Twitter videos that show up there. But now, do individuals need to purchase potentially a Twitter premium membership so that way they don't have to constantly see ads? Which is something else to consider. I'm sure that'd be an option. And then would it be site-wide or individual-wide? I think there are a lot of challenges. I do think that there are a lot of opportunities for removing some of the filtering and being more transparent about content moderation that does happen at Twitter. I think that would be phenomenal. I do think that censorship should exist to the extent that laws are violated, but not beyond that. For example, when I announced my campaign for governor against an existing campaign who's heavily funded by big tech in California, I had my posts deleted and censored, and that's really not okay, right? That sort of censorship is unacceptable. I mean, we almost had to sue CNN. We had to send them a cease and desist letter for censoring the existence of our campaign blatantly, and it was disgusting. So censorship is absolutely terrible and should never exist. Everything should exist out in the open. I'm a big proponent of that, and it's one of the reasons why I'm very transparent about failures that I have or mistakes that I make. Or problems that I face, because I don't think transparency is just let me just show you all the good. It's let me show you some of the downsides as well. So I do think transparent content moderation is great, but we also risk potentially turning into a one-sided political echo chamber, and that's sort of a danger that I believe that certain platforms like Rumble or even Parler have fallen victim to, because unfortunately these particular platforms can cater specifically to one demographic, one political party, and then it's almost like you have an even worse situation because you're just adding fuel to the fire of anger and hate for another side in an echo chamber rather than promoting discourse. So that's difficult. I do think that video is a way of providing more perspective, but I really have trouble seeing how Twitter is going to pull that off. I am hopeful, though, because I think that if anyone is doing it, or can do it, rather, I should say, Elon can do it. I'm very bullish about that, so I'm very excited for Elon, but I think there are a lot of challenges in becoming a new YouTube. It's personally not something that I would invest in. I own one share of Twitter. It's not an investment that I would make. I think I'm down 50% day one on my ownership of Twitter at 54.20. I do think that there are a lot of costs that need to be cut, and I am not exactly sure how tweets are as monetizable as videos ever, which it makes sense why then Elon might be considering moving into the direction of a video style platform. but I think you have a lot of competition there. So the really remaining option here is, okay, what if you just lay off so much staff that you take the company down to a skeleton crew rather than having 7,000 employees or 7,500 employees roughly, which you do now. You go down to, this sounds ridiculously extreme, but I'm going to purposely go extreme. You go down to 500, and almost everything is just handled algorithmically or through bots, and any kind of moderation is publicly shown, and intervention is extremely limited. Really what you need now is a sales team. That's almost all you need. I mean, you need a small engineering team and a sales team. And the sales team's job is to bring in marketers and brand partners for your creators, because your creators are the backbone of the platform. They are what bring viewers back. And without the creators, there are no viewers. You build it and they will come. And people will continue to come back as long as the perspective that you share or the creators share is valuable. And so I think that's the goal of everyone as a creator, is provide value. But the goal of the platform is to incentivize providing value. Because again, if there's no money to be made, then what's the point of bringing quality value to that platform? It just makes sense to say on YouTube in that case. So speaking as a creator, I'm personally very skeptical. I'm very excited because I'd love to see what happens, but I can't say that I'm optimistic. Although I will always wish Elon the best. This is not, by no means do I ever consider myself a hater. I think of myself as just a reasonable entrepreneur who has hope, but also has a check of realism. So I wish everyone the best who's an investor in Twitter. This video is not financial advice. If you want more not financial advice, check out my programs on Building Your Wealth linked down below, especially our fundamental live streams that we do every single morning. The market is open. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.